Hi, good afternoon. Stephen from Alcohol Free Lifestyle. I want to do a video about the last 5 years and how much can change in 5 years. I felt less than that really, because I always remember when I was younger, sometimes you get in a bit of a rut in relationships, in work, and all sorts of things. My mother always says, still alive, that nothing stays the same. But when you're in a bit of a rut, you think it's going to last forever, don't you? But with regards to alcohol, I've been drinking for a long, long time. And I got into serious difficulties in 2019 when basically I drank too much. My body wasn't going to allow me to drink anymore. That was the end of the road for me. So I was taken by Blue Air Ambulance to hospital in Newcastle. I was in the acute medical ward, which was a bit disruptive and very worrying, obviously. And they announced I had some sort of liver issues, alcohol problems. They didn't tell me they were going to withdraw me or anything, so I tried to withdraw. I tried to stop drinking in the past and I had seizures, but I had 2 weeks in there and they drained a lot of fluid off my abdomen. I didn't know what any of this was at the time. I just was totally confused and pleased in a way to be in hospital. And I found that it was ascites fluid, which it's a protein that the liver can't deal with, basically. And I also had something called spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, which is the two combined can be fatal. And the consultant told me later that 50% of people hospitalised with that will die. So it was all a total mad shock for myself and my family. I mean, I thought I was on death's door. Well, I was on death's door. I went down to 9 stone. Shortly after that, I was released or discharged, was it? I went back in a few weeks' time, had more of this fluid build up, and they drained off this fluid again, and then had a seizure in hospital. Fortunately, it was in hospital. And I then woke up in intensive care, where they had to put some sort of device or some needle into through my shoulder and into the liver area, or into some part of my body, to bring up the sodium level, which sodium is basically salt. I didn't know anything about that at the time, but it went down to critical level whereby you go into a coma, die. So all this was just happening all at once. It all came on very quickly, you see. From being a very heavy drinker to being hospitalised, it happened in a matter of weeks. So I got over that. I was in there for 2 or 3 weeks. Then had another issue whereby this fluid was getting worse and I had an umbilical hernia. That split slightly and I was bleeding heavily. Now this is going into COVID time. You imagine what the hospitals were like, the ambulances were like. It was manic. So I had this bleed, then I decided to do some little shunt thing in my liver, trying to open the portal vein. That didn't work properly. 1 out of 100 people it doesn't work, and I was 1 out of 100, as always. However, I still kept positive and thought, I'm going to get through this. I still had this fluid build up. Again, hernia bled and nearly bled to death. Ambulance turned up. During COVID again, nothing on the roads, blue lighted it all the way to emergency hospital, and they put 2 blast bandages on me. The blast bandages are basically what the name suggests. They're used in bomb blasts. Very rarely used on the streets of the UK, but they always have them just in case. Still wasn't stopping the bleeding. The paramedic in the back of the ambulance with me radioed ahead, got a full surgical team ready. I was sitting in a resus. Now, if I've ever been in resus, hope you haven't, but it's the scariest place on earth. I'd never been into resus other than when I was a police officer with patients and victims, that sort of thing. But to be a patient yourself is incredibly worrying. There's a surgeon there with his surgical kit, and he stitched up this cut or this bleed in my umbilical hernia. And he basically said, if this doesn't work, nothing's going to work. It worked. A few weeks later, They did another operation to cut away the umbilical hernia. It's a 5-hour operation. Got over that somehow. So we move on to late 2020. Started to feel slightly better. I was still going in and out of hospital. I was in for about a 5-week period at that time when they're monitoring the sodium level. Because alcohol has so many ill effects. It affects so many things. The list is as long as your arm. However, still be positive. I'm going to get through it. I lost all this weight. End of 2020, started to feel a tad better. I was still in a wheelchair most of the time. Housebound, didn't go out, apart from going from home to the hospital in a patient transport ambulance. That's all I'd been out. 2021 came along, and my dad unfortunately passed away then, 3 years ago today, would you believe? And I gathered some strength from that. I don't know where it came from. And I managed to get myself to the hospital to visit him shortly before he died, and obviously attend the funeral. I was still painfully thin, very, very weak. Still couldn't walk properly. And then I managed to pull myself around a little bit more, started to eat as much as I could of good food, plenty of proteins, fruit and veg also. I had a very strict diet. At that time I was on monthly visits to the Freeman Hospital in Newcastle, which is a specialist liver unit there anyway, or alcohol unit. So every 4 weeks to monitor my blood, and I wasn't admitted anymore. So eventually went to every 2 months. Things started to improve. Bloods were coming out fine. Then my consultant left for a short while. I got another consultant, both females, both excellent. And she said to me, "Oh, you're progressing quite well." And I thought, goodness me. I said, how have I come to progress quite well from being on death's door? And she just said, well, you're doing what we ask you to do. And that was basically, don't touch a drop of alcohol. Because your liver will regenerate. There can be some damage, but will regenerate in most cases if you keep off the drink. If you relapse and go back on again, you're dead. That's what I was told. So a little bit stronger. 2 years ago, I felt a little bit better. Got back to my own flat again on 3 monthly visits to the hospital. Kept going to the GP now and again. Try to eat a bit more. Try to do some exercise. Try to put some more weight on. And as time went on, by just following a very strict diet and doing exactly what the doctor said, I got better and better. So here we're on now, 5 years on, 2024, and I feel a million times better. My life's changed so much. I feel much younger. I've got a new partner. I've got a fantastic relationship, great relationship with my daughter. I've got a grandson now. Finances are really good. Everything's positive. So the message I'm trying to get across here is no matter how ill you are, if you keep positive and you do what these people say, you listen to advice, you do some research yourself, you eat well. It's not the best diet in the world, having lots of salads and fruit, but you get used to it because every day is a good day, especially when you come back from just about was the grave for me. Come back from the bottom of the bottle, never to touch another bottle again. Various times I've thought about relapsing, but I haven't. I've been very strong. I'm sober confident now, I'd say. In the past, I'd been relapsing quite a bit. I'd be off for a year or two. The longest I was off with, prior to the 2019 incident was 8 years I've been off, and I've still relapsed. The power of addiction is incredible. The message is, be positive. Do not touch a drop. I put a couple of videos out today because I think it's a big relapse day today. The football match is on. I mean, every day is a relapse day as far as alcoholics are concerned, and heavy drinkers. Because there's always an excuse, isn't it? The pub's always going to be there for you. Always going to be there. The off license will be there. You can buy drink anywhere 24 hours a day. You can get it 24 hours a day. Even service stations sell it, don't they? Be strong. Do what the doctors say. Watch these sort of videos. I didn't even think about this when I was in the hospital. Keep in contact with people who've been successful, been sober, managed to get themselves over it. Because there's always a temptation when you're an alcoholic to have a drink again. It's the same as Russell Brand says about the drugs. It's just around the corner, isn't it? Down from his flat, he can get a load of coke and some heroin again. The same as I can. I would just go around the corner and go to the pub, couldn't I? And I will go to the pub tonight to watch the match. But I'll be drinking a 0% beer. And tomorrow I'll feel even better. And I'll maybe even go to the gym. Go for a long walk. Be positive. Keep in touch. Subscribe to the channel. If you've got any thoughts or comments, leave me. Drop me a line. And I'll speak to you all very soon. And good luck to England.